Welcome to Talking New York Real Estate with Vince Rocco. Our show is all about the exciting world of real estate and in particular, how it relates to the luxury New York marketplace. But if you are not planning a real estate transaction in New York, we still have plenty of information you can use no matter where you are. Now, here's our show. Hello everyone, I'm Vince Rocco in New York, so let's get right to what everyone is talking about. Today on the show, New York City Townhouse renovations are a world of their own, blending history, ambition, and precision. These projects go far beyond cosmetic upgrades. They often involve reimagining century-old spaces for modern living while respecting the building's architectural integrity. From gut renovations that reveal hidden surprises behind plaster walls to custom millwork, parlor floor restorations, or excavated garden levels, to no townhouses will ever look the same. Today, we are joined by experts to unpack the complex dance between structure, style, and lifestyle. While you're restoring a brownstone in Brooklyn or transforming a limestone on the Upper West Side, it takes vision, collaboration, and serious problem-solving to bring these iconic homes into the present. And on set with me today are Anne-Marie Lahat, Victorian Renaissance, Roman Chernos from Roman Chi Studios, and they join me now to discuss. But first, let me welcome my listeners and my viewers from across the United States and all around the globe. This is Talking New York Real Estate, so let's go behind the headlines and inside real estate, the state of our industry.
Hi, it's Stephen Bailey from Roadway Moving and Storage. Listening to Vince Rocco, you know the right partner makes all the difference. At Roadway, we deliver an experience your clients will love. For specialized services and white glove care, choose Roadway. Want to learn more? Email me at steven@roadwaymoving.com or visit roadwaymoving.com.
Hey, everybody. Okay, so we're back. Listen, we're going to talk about renovations today. Townhouses, penthouses, regular apartments. A thing to do here in New York City when you purchase a home and it's not to your liking. When we're talking about townhouses, we're talking about sometimes major gut renovations because a lot of these homes, a lot of these buildings are turn of the century, are very, very old, and they probably need everything. Also, a lot of them have been multifamily over the years. They were converted back in the 60s and 70s, and now people are taking them back to single family. So when you do that, you've got to remove kitchens on all the floors, et cetera, et cetera. So we've got two experts here today who dabble in this renovation business. It's not a small business. It's very big. It's very time-consuming. And aside from getting the job done and making these places look beautiful, you've got to deal with the human element, as I call it, the emotions, the drama, the decision-making or lack of. So I would like to, if we can, in our hour, get through as much of it as possible. But Amri, let me start with you because I'd like you both to introduce yourself. Explain exactly to the audience out there, the viewers and the listeners, what your business is about.
Well, the conventional answer will be I'm an interior designer, I'm a builder, and in a way, some architect service that I offer. But the main is what I promoting is beauty, and historical beauty. I believe that beauty has been detached from its origin on the early 20th century, and I'm here to make this connection back again. And my medium is historical houses. That's one way I do it.
As I said at the top of the show in the intro, trying to marry, the old with the new.
Right.
A lot of people, and we're going to get into this a little later. A lot of people want to try and modernize homes, which I'm not necessarily in favor of, or restore, which is a better way of putting it for townhouses. Roman, the same thing for you. Tell us a little bit about yourself and what your business does and how you got started in it.
Hi, everyone. I'm architect, interior designer, and also I can call myself someone who's looking for the beauty or preserve or to create new or to save, to edit, to clean, to
make fresh, make new.
Make fresh. So
what inspired you to start your business? I mean, we've all had different careers. We've all done different things. I was a school teacher. I worked in corporate America selling hardware and software for technology companies. And then I decided to become a real estate agent. So we all kind of have 2 and 3 and sometimes 4 careers. What inspired you to do what you're doing today based on whatever you did in the past?
So my career probably started in my 12. It was a story of that my mother exchanged the books with her friend, and that period it wasn't really cell phones, so I've been kind of at a delivery system in between them. And one time I just get into her house. Like, on the fourth floor, I have a huge old library, and I get into those drawings, so those floor plans and stuff. And I didn't understand what it's that, but in that moment, I understand what I want to do in this.
You knew you wanted to do something.
Yeah.
You know, it's so funny you say that, because when I was probably 12 and 13, my parents used to say to me, "Why do you keep turning the furniture around in the living room?" I'd walk into the living room, and we were 4 kids and 2 parents, and I would just get inspired to say, "I think the sofa needs to go over there, or maybe it needs to go over here." And every couple of weeks, you know, they'd come home and see the whole living room turned around, and they'd say, "Why did you do that? You just did it not too long ago." And I didn't really have an answer for them other than to say, "I don't know, I'm just kind of," and I'm not an interior designer, trust me, but I just wanted something new, something fresh, something different. What inspired you to do this? Because I'm sure you had a career in the past, and it morphed into what it is you're doing today. Omri, tell us a little bit about what the inspiration was for you to get into what can be a very difficult business.
Right. So opposite from Roman, I didn't grow up near books. I started in the flea market, appreciate and value craftsmen and art craft, and identify which culture it's coming from. And it always curious me how things created, how things were made. And little by little, I start to be exposed to these grand houses that have this rich culture in them. And I knew right away that that's what I need. The moment I think I walk down the street and I saw a dumpster with people throwing beautiful doors and beautiful mantles and all the characters and all the historical element. And I could not believe that that's what is happening.
Yep.
So I knew at that moment, that's what I need to promote. That's the square I need to be in. That's the position where I need to promote and educate, even though I didn't have a clue of what it is to educate. And then I started to delve more into books and more into old books and speak to talented people. You can find a stained glass person who's done it for 40 years and he's very expert of what he do. And the moment you ask him a question, he opened his entire life history and you start to learn and pick up from him. And then you get the vision, get the understanding of how he see the world. And then you embrace what you can and implement it in your project.
I want to get to a little bit of what you said in a bit, but one of the things that just came to mind is when you said, you see the people throwing things out, a lot of old things out. There used to be a place, I'm sure it still exists, up in Connecticut, I think in Stamford. And it's an old, kind of warehouse where a lot of things that people threw out from old townhouses, old homes, all over New York, all over Connecticut, where you can go and buy pieces and bring them into your renovation to restore. And I went there the first time long ago with a friend of mine, and I just was like mesmerized. I couldn't believe the beautiful pieces that people would just, when we talk about restore versus modernize. Okay, modern to me is shit.
Yeah.
I don't like modern. But when you're restoring stuff and you go to a place like this that has everything, from the turn of the century and beyond, it's quite amazing.
I call them treasure yards.
100%. I call the same thing. I said, this is like a treasure found out of nowhere. We found it by accident. I was looking for something. Roman, who are your ideal clients and how do they benefit or how can they benefit from your services?
Ideal clients, dream clients were homeowners. And I think I wanted to start working with homeowners before they even own the house or before they even own the spot. So to pick that spot with them and build on that spot with them. Also, I'm happy to collaborate with any interior designers or architects to offer them services of high quality renderings, any kind of space planning, because that's my favorite part of creation.
Explain to us a little bit about space planning, because you said that, and I had it on my note. Go ahead, continue. But space planning is very important.
Also, I would love to collaborate with real estate agents with any kind of visual stuff if they need for the renderings, space planning. I like to be involved, as I said. The the people who wants to buy, I wants to be involved in the properties, even to pick. I mean, and not as a real estate agent, as an architect. It can be very helpful for both of us.
Do you work at all with developers who build these big buildings from a space planning perspective, helping them come up with what I call, the interior footprint, the design of the actual floors,
Correct.
the amount of rooms, the amount of apartments on a floor? Do you work with
Correct.
people like that?
Correct. Yes, that's my ideal clients from real estate.
Right. Okay. What challenges do you face, Omri, when you're talking to real estate agents, or do you? Do you get your jobs from real estate agents? Do you get them from the actual buyer, the customer themselves? Is it a combination of both? I often wonder because real estate agents, in my opinion, including myself, do not have a background in architecture or design or whatever. So how is your interaction with them?
So I made some transformation the way I do with the way I lay my business model is the problem being an artist and providing a service is is a tough area to be. So you have to choose. So I lean more to being an artist. So I came to realization that I need to control what I want to create. So I mainly buy the house and do what I feel that is right to do, and then I sell the house. So my communication with real estate is where I'm buying the property that they help me find it, or when they're trying to sell it. Now, often I see that realtors, they're not use the entire story of the house, which I wish they did before. So whether if it's
So you're talking about the listing agent who puts a townhouse, for example, on the market, and you're suggesting, as I am, that they don't necessarily know the background of that house. They don't know the history of that house to properly, market it.
Correct, because in New York City, there's 200, 300 years of history.
Yeah.
And even if the house itself doesn't carry a special history, the block is, or the neighborhood is. And by promoting this story, besides here is the kitchen, here is the living room, that's what you can do. Besides speaking the obvious, I think carrying more meaningful story, historical aspect of it can add a lot to the sell, to the new owners to understand and give him another angle of what he's buying right now. And by doing so, I think they'd be able to elevate their success rate.
What do you say to a client when you walk in, probably because the real estate agent, has asked you to come in, whatever, and you see a design that may have been there for years or that they've recently done that just is so bad? How do you handle that? I mean, what do you suggest happens?
I mean, I think our way to do that is to educate people who the stuff you want to preserve, right? The beauty. As he said, it's not enough information about listing and listing because nobody cares or nobody just read it or nobody.
That's true.
Everyone,
That's true.
It's like Instagram. Everyone looking for the pictures, and if you're not, actually just swipe. So
Yeah, but the pictures tell the story, though, and if the pictures aren't good,
so
you got a problem.
I 100% agree with you that to deliver that part, in my opinion, I can deliver it with beautiful renderings to show the beauty. Because if you buy that townhouse not well preserved, it's not look very presentable, right? And the people who is renovating, they try to add some different style and just forget about whatever that beauty was before. So I would say the beautiful presentation from the beginning would fix that part.
We know just renovations in general, and most especially when we're talking about townhouses, but most renovations, in general, can be complex. They can involve a lot of emotion, a lot of drama, as I said at the top of the show, a lot of money, a lot of change orders because people say, oh, I think I wanted this, but now I think I want that instead. Amri, in your opinion, yes, and in your opinion, what makes these renovations complex? I mean, post-COVID, we've had supply chain issues and pricing has gone up, and appliances are floating out in the ocean somewhere because they can't get here on time, et cetera. And I've had that problem in new development buildings. But why are renovations as complex as they turn out to be? We all want to think that things are simple, right? And they're not.
Right. I think it's more the general notion that people want here and now. Originally when brownstone or townhouse was built, it took a year and a half to build it. And I'm talking without electric, without plumbing, without sprinklers.
Exactly.
So now we expecting to a project to complete within a year to be delivered. And that's the expectation. So it starts off from the expectation. Secondly is to find, it depends how complicated the design is and the execution, but basically to find the people to deliver it, to put them together. Now everything is subs out, meaning you hire a GC that hire electricians that hire other work. So it's breakdown into small pieces, and the control management becomes tough, and it's hard enough to run the project. Now you made it even more harder when you break it down to small pieces. So understanding that will help you accept certain facts, that this is not something that you just go in and out and move in and everybody's happy. This is something you have to thoroughly think, what are the weak points in this process, embracing those, and then come up with a plan to back it up for a plan B. What do I do in case something go wrong or doesn't come out the way I expected? And that will help a lot of homeowners to accept
forward thinking,
to save extra 20% of money.
Yeah,
on the top.
that will translate to that
and,
in the
and
end.
that too. Yeah.
Yeah.
All right, listen, we have to take a break. There is so much more to talk about. We're going to talk about a lot of these homes are 100 years old and more. So we'll be right back after these messages. Talking New York Real Estate is just getting underway on this very hot and humid Tuesday here in New York. Don't go anywhere.
The Everset provides full-service staging and furniture rental solutions in the New York area. For more information, please visit us at staging.theeverset.com or email us at staging@theeverset.com to request a free proposal.
We mentioned before the break that some of these homes are 100 years old, 150 years old. I mean, very old homes here. And they oftentimes require a lot of work. So my question to both of you is, when you first walk into, let's take a townhouse. When you first walk into the townhouse, right, you might have direction before you get there. People have told you what they want, whatever. But when you first walk into a home, even a penthouse, anything, what is the first thing you see, or what is the first thing you look for? Because I've spent 23 years in real estate in this town, and I've said my famous line is, there is no accounting for taste, okay? Because taste with people is all over the map. What is the first thing you see? What is the first thing you look for? And does the mind start racing with what you need to do?
So I don't know if it might sound weird, but the moment I walk into a historic house,
be honest.
That's here it comes. I look for the story. For me, culture is the strategy, starting point.
Interesting.
And
I write that down. Very good.
Yeah, I try to understand and kind of envision the people who live there. Try to see they're walking in the house. I don't know. I have this wide imagination, and then I start to see the existing architecture element in the house. And how people walking there, and then I see what can be said.
How they're living in the space.
How they lived, how they lived in that space. And then, my imagination works in layers, and then I add the artificial layers of what it is that I will change and add or take off, and then I see the picture. I see it in full. Sometimes the idea doesn't form completely to execution, and I'll embrace all the ideas. So sometimes they are too crazy to implement. But I start from the story, moving forwards, how the design gonna look.
But how often does your story in your mind match the person who lives there or the family who lives there or whatever?
It's a very good question because you can really aim for everybody. It's not gonna happen. Most of the time, people don't know what they want.
Really?
They do know what they want.
Most of the time,
They do know what
But
they want.
that's not always correct.
it's not always correct. Meaning they come with different ideas that they've seen, and in pictures everything looks great, but when you're in the space, it feels off, or it feels wrong, or it doesn't resonate with the way your lifestyle is.
Right.
So
Right. Mhm.
So basically, I have to do what I think will be good from my experience, from the knowledge and experience that I gain and delivering it. That's why I said I disconnect myself from day to day providing service to people, show them what I think is right. A lot of the time when you hire an interior design, you have to ask the client a lot of questions to get who they are and then try to match it. So, that's the right approach. Most of the time, for me, what works for me is I'm trying, this is what I think will be the best. I put the house on the market, and I know it's not going to be for everyone. A certain percentage will love it. And from that certain percentage of it, half of them will want it. So, and that's how I see it.
So this is a question for me. When you start talking, I was almost think that you are being in a place as like an architect. So I always try to understand the functional zoning of each room. Mm-hmm. I try to understand if it's not light, if it's enough space for like future living couple or whatever family, enough room for everything they need. And then I see if the functional zoning connections is very well. After that, start talking about which way we're moving with the design.
But let me ask you something, Roman. So I get that, and you're right. However, we know that people are going to disagree. We know that people are going to have a different opinion. Most people do not have architect or design skill or contracting skill. They think they know what they want. Just like when I'm trying to sell something to somebody, I want to be downtown, I want to be uptown, I end up in the reverse direction.
You'll be surprised.
Well, tell me, because I think sometimes that people say, oh, interior designers or renovators, they're very strong and they're very, bully-like, and they try and tell me what I want. Most of the time, I agree that you guys know what should happen, but the customer has got to take a period of time to get there.
Our customers, they travel the world. They live in New York. Yeah. They go to the beautiful restaurants. They stay in the nice hotels. They have taste. They know what they want. Our part, it's to deliver them what they're not going to work together. What kind of eclectic style together would not work well, or what's going to be not good functionally, or what is going to be not working with the connection of those functions. That they don't know, or they don't know yet. So our side is to deliver them, to teach them, to add that part what they not
educate,
know.
as you said earlier. It's definitely an education process. But how do you handle surprises, Omri? I mean, behind the walls, you start breaking things down. There are surprises that happen. things that you don't count on. How do you handle that?
So I'll tie it together with the question that Roman answered. The house existed. It's a fact. 100 and 150 years,
100%.
It's right there. Meaning it had a fire damage somewhere down the road. It had water damage. Right. It had all kinds of
asbestos.
Yeah, and you'd be surprised what people hide in the walls or in the chimney or in you'll find.
I can only just imagine.
And that's part
history.
And that's part of the story. So that's part of the things you want to reveal. Now, so understanding that, you understand there will be the surprises is part of the process. So it's not surprise anymore, right? So understanding that this is a journey. This house have a rich history, and we want to reveal it. and revealing is part of the process.
Absolutely.
Now, people have the opportunity to buy something new. There are plenty condos out there that are available, and if you go outside the city, you'll find brand new construction where you can do your entire vision and execute it the way you feel right. But when you buy an historical house, you need to embrace the story and start. You are the new chapter of the story. So understanding that
You're the start of the story.
is very important for the decision you're going to make. Because some decision you're okay with the compromise. You're okay with the understanding that you can't get everything you want, and you need to embrace some of it, and some of it you need to change and adapt. So that's my intake for this.
Yeah. Also, probably the question is: you want to preserve, or you want to just kill and move on?
Yeah.
And that's as I was thinking about earlier. Some people want to just kill it and move on and
Yeah.
do something new, do something modern.
Right.
You know, one of the things that irritates me when I go into a townhouse that is 100 years old, 150 years old, from the outside, they all look the same.
Mm-hmm.
They're all beautiful. They're all classic.
Mm-hmm.
You know, some of them are on, landmark streets.
Right.
Landmarks.
But you walk in and they've completely modernized not only the furniture but the look and feel. And I just look and say, "Oh Lord, why? Why?
I tell you why the big why is because
It's awful."
the facade give you the promo of what you should expect on the inside. And the gap between what you experience on the outside when you walk in is just a big drop down.
If you want that new whatever, go buy something else. Don't buy a landmark historic townhouse. I mean, the outside is the outside, right?
Exactly.
I mean, I'm very old world and very old fashioned. I'm not a modern interior person on any level. I can't deal with it. I live in a pre-war building because I don't like these tall glass, whatever. I can sell them, but I don't like to live in them.
It's a different modern can be. Well, just if you start from the beginning, right? We're also sitting not in a historical building, right? And we're talking about AC conditioner or whatever for 5 minutes. That was hot here, right? We don't want to live in a townhouse 100 years ago without air conditioning.
Correct.
So we want to have a comfortable living, right? All the electrical, like fresco Leonardo da Vinci inside the wall. I don't know. I'm just exaggerating these things, but they still need to be comfortable. So we want to preserve, but wants to preserve with a modern influence, in my opinion. And I think the modern. I think bad with the modern, just maybe you haven't seen the good modern options of decisions.
He's going to argue with me on the modern stuff.
I'm not arguing with you. I'm just saying.
Listen, I hear what you're saying, and there is something to be said for it. Yes.
Yeah, and it's not for us to decide where the person who invests $40 million in a townhouse and $5 million in the renovation decided what kind of wallpaper he wants.
Just for the audience out there, just so I can clarify. If I were to buy a townhouse, lucky enough to buy and own a townhouse, I would want to, and we talked about it before, restore it.
No, first
not
see me as a best friend.
Yeah, well, so that's all I'm saying. But that's my personal taste, okay? And I get everybody has different. I'm sure you do, and I'm sure you do very beautiful. I've seen beautiful modern, thing. I just have a problem when I see it in a townhouse. In an apartment, hey, that's great. What specific services, Roman, can you provide aside from the renderings, for new developments to agents?
To agents. I think.
So the agents out there know.
Yeah,
call Roman.
I think I'm a good to go with the buyers and that real estate agent to the showings before that and evaluate what the people need in a very quick like 5 minutes and deliver them if that home is going to work for them. I think this is the goal where I already make like few times. I mean, that deal was closed after that showing with me.
Yeah.
And I mean, I used to hold license in real estate. I'm not real estate guy. I'm absolutely not real estate guy because I'm not going to sell I'm gonna sell the beauty, and I'm gonna preserve the beauty,
Correct.
and I'm gonna tell people what they need if they don't know. If they know, I would sell my stamp of proof on it.
That's how I met Omri a couple of years ago. Go ahead.
Didn't
go ahead.
answer your question. Renderings for real estate to list your property.
Very important.
Yeah, to stand up from the market. Again, any kind of space planning, which can be very helpful if someone wants to renovate it, townhouse, but he wants to know if it's enough room for him before he invests those $20-30 million, right? To just
Well, that's- yeah.
just to give preliminary floor plans, or I don't know. Someone's want to have a piano, if it fits the piano to that living room, and if the can install the
acoustic.
the acoustic. If you can install the
Well,
elevator,
that's
if the
sometimes
if,
difficult in an old home.
right. Some things you can decide on your own, and some things I think when you're making those decisions, better to make decisions with someone who can be really helpful.
I totally agree. You and I met a couple of years ago, as Roman just described, going along with agents and the clients, although that client kind of flaked out and never showed up. But you were there. You went through the whole house. I don't remember the details of your opinion there, but I remember it being a very nice house. We didn't get a chance to work together because the buyer obviously decided to do something else. But at the end of the day, I like what he said, because I know selling. I know real estate. I don't know the design behind what may happen, or how to convince that buyer, hey, this might work out well for you, or not.
Here is what if I had options to help realtors, is to understand the language of ornaments, the language of architecture. Because they walk in the streets and they crisscross the whole Manhattan, Brooklyn streets, and they just walk in. They sometimes, most of the time, they don't understand where they are walking through, which sometimes for me, it's like a portal. You go and the buildings, once you understand the ornaments, you understand the facades, you know what you have, what kind of block you have, and what is your inventory, how you can sell it. So once you understand that, it's a great tool holding a conversation with a potential buyer, understanding what do you have in hands and how he needs to see what you see. And besides the conventional tools that realtors have, once they upgrade that vision, it's going to do tremendous to their value, understanding why specifically this meant, because that's how you and I met, is what I told you, listen, this is not the conventional, this is not the regular mantelpiece. This house belonged to someone super rich without me knowing the history, because I was on the clock coming in. And,
you were right.
And if a buyer were hear that, all of a sudden he's curious to hear more. And if you have that ability as a realtor to show that angle, I think it's golden.
I agree.
That's very nice words.
No, but it's very true, and particularly in the place that we went to see together. But again, we talked about how you have to map, your thoughts and your ideas to what they want, sort of work it out to plan it together, whether it's modern, whether it's a vintage, or whether it's, old world. Or restore. Because when you're talking about a townhouse, for example, it's vertical living. You've got many, many floors, right? It's not just you walk into an apartment or you walk into a penthouse, you might have a second floor. But here you have multiple floors, different design opportunities. If there's a family, the children might want one thing, the adults might want something else. How do you, design a den? I mean, I sold a townhouse, the last townhouse I sold on West 74th Street. It was like 6 stories. It was like $19 million. It was already renovated.
74.
And it was gorgeous. So well done. The buyers walked in and said, we don't have to do anything but write a check. And that's what they did. No need for renovations. It was done.
Right.
That's not always the case.
That's almost never the case.
Correct. Almost never, especially in a townhouse.
If they're buying the townhouse from you, maybe when it's already done.
Well, what's trending right now in townhouses? When people walk into a townhouse, or they want to buy a townhouse? What are they looking for? What's trending? Than not.
I think that, have you watched the last TV show that Sex and the City, the new one? What's that?
Yeah, the revival. I did
just
not.
like that.
Yeah.
So the Carrie lives in a dream.
Yes.
Townhouse in Gramercy. I think it's kind of preserve what they was there with some modern pieces of furniture. She still tried to gather auctions and stuff and buy something not very modern, but
doable.
But doable, yeah. So it's still very very in trend to save what the townhouses have inside.
I think because when you want to talk about trends, whether a townhouse or any real estate or anything in this industry, trends are trends. They come and go. And you've probably seen many trends come and go. What do you see right now that people are saying, I have to have that, or I do not want that?
So I'm naturally from my professional place, I'm trying to stay away from trends because they have an expiration date.
Absolutely.
And that's where I try not to promote, but I see very, very talented people out there.
Mm-hmm.
They are taking ideas. See, if you copy a trend, you're just another guy who copy things. But if you take ideas from 100 sources and you form them into one place, then you become original. Then become you creative.
Yep.
So I see a lot of people combining the classic modern and turning it from minimalist to maximalist and promoting this idea that our ability, our capability is to understand a lot of colors in the same place, a lot of elements, wood, metal, stone.
Colors also come and go, right? They come and go.
They do. I mean, today you'll see a lot of green and a lot of purple and a lot of, but they're still solid
and
colors.
Gray.
And
It's
I'm
so
trying
horrible.
I'm trying to stay away with gray in
popular in
any
the 80s.
possible way. But a lot of people do it great stuff, and you just, as long as you come in creative and you're not copy the previous project. A lot of developers doing that. A lot of people think because that one sold so quickly, it's justifying to use the same idea, the same concept on my project. And I think not just in the sake of do something different, but in the sake of creativity and art, you should push it always to the next thing and not trying to copy trends or trying to someone else's ability to execute something and interpret it your own way. I think that there's the discrepancy between those two.
Trends are dangerous, well, they can be.
Yeah.
All right, we got to take another break. We're coming right back after these very quick messages. Don't go anywhere.
This podcast is supported by the More Network, powered by Brown Harris Stevens. Real estate touches every aspect of our lives, from design and architecture to investing and the economy. Now there's a way to get all your real estate information in one place. The More Network. With more than 20 podcast and webcast series, the Mastery of Real Estate Network is powered by Brown Harris Stevens, one of the country's most distinguished brokerages. Discover advice from notable entrepreneurs, compelling topics, and access to top global real estate experts. Subscribe to their YouTube and Apple podcast channels by visiting getmorenetwork.com.
All right, everybody, we are back. So let's talk a little bit about lighting, because we all know that in older buildings, I live in a pre-war building, sometimes light challenged in a couple of rooms, not all. Townhouses for sure, you got front and back, you have nothing on the side. How do you deal with lighting in these homes? Because everybody likes, if they can have it, natural lighting. You can't always in a townhouse. What do you do? So
every beam of light in townhouse is very important. Yes. That's the reason they build the townhouses with the large, tall windows. That's the people used to live only from natural light before electricity. So understanding that the townhouse, the natural light in the townhouse is very crucial to the feeling of the space. You always needs to counter. You start when you are analyzing where you're taking this project to. You're starting from the natural light that comes in. Either it's from normally they have only one or two skylights that you can incorporate with the actual house. and then make sure the windows are big impact of how you're going to fill in the house, especially if the house turns into from north to south, the sun exposure variate, and understanding where your house is located in that sun exposure, you want to make decisions according to it. And for instance, if you have a southern sun exposure, you know that your facade, you know that your front windows will project most of the daytime. So you do want to make the living room according to it. You want to make sure that you're not just doing it as maybe you want to do it as a reading space, or maybe you want to do it as if you choose that the office will be at the back of the house or the front of the house. So you're going to make your decisions according to it. A bathroom normally wants, you can be more forgiving with the natural light, so you can push them more to the back. So understanding the sun exposure will help you make right decisions on your project.
So, addition to that, as you said, skylights, how to add the natural light. Also, you can do the tube in the middle of the building when you can get some extra light. I also use reflection lights. So, for example, if the room more than 2 squares in the floor plan, and it's a precise self exposures, the mirror on the opposite side of it gets 15 to 20% of more lights room.
Yeah,
and again, reflective materials, like something through shiny. Also glass, for example, cabinets of kitchen or something glossy. It's also add a natural light. I mean, in not natural.
People don't think about that, but that's very true.
Yeah, perfect ideas for being creative with
that's very
artificial
true.
Elements you can add to it.
Absolutely.
Also, and technical lights, right? The technical lights, then decorative lights, the ambient lights. But my guru in that industry, it's Roman and William, right? When you're coming into any of the buildings of his or any of the restaurants of his, right? For example, like New Angelique restaurant, right? With those huge chandeliers, those very, very, very warm lights.
I love those.
Like
I'm very old-fashioned.
Like a cool restaurant, right? You coming in and that ambient lights warm makes you feel a little different. So something like that.
Talk to me a little bit about when you just meet somebody and they're starting to think about and they start embarking upon a townhouse or any renovation, in New York. What's the most important thing you advise them that they need to know before they hire a team, whether that team is you, whether it's somebody else? What's the most important thing that you kind of advise them to be looking for in whatever team they select? Because look, we said it before, we've said it throughout the hour here, everybody has different opinions, everybody has different taste, most good, but different. How do you advise clients?
I actually have a potential client to meet today at 5 p.m. So I advise him to involve me on the stage of picking the lot in Connecticut when he wants to build the house of his dream.
Got it.
So I already know zoning, and I tell how big the lot you have to be, what kind of communication you have to have for it. So I already start thinking what we can build there. And same way, the builders, you need to know how much it can cost and what kind of
We're going to get into budget in a minute, but so just for the audience, because you mentioned Connecticut, you work outside of New York as well?
Oh yeah, Connecticut.
Hamptons?
Me and partner have 3 licenses. So
Got it.
Connecticut, New Jersey, New York. So I can work on all of those. And I actually collaborate right now with one in the West Coast in Palm Springs. We're doing some house renovation there. So I'm open to work anywhere in the world, and I do love that. I do love to get exposures all over the world.
Why not? We're going to get to that in a minute. Omri, so budgets, okay? The elephant in the room. We all know, renovating a townhouse in particular, we could be talking millions of dollars, potentially, depending on what they want to do, how restorative they want to be, whatever. How do you advise clients on what the budget's going to be, and who do you involve with the budget? Because you might be the architect, you might be the overall design expert, but you're bringing in subcontractors, you're bringing in other people to actually do the work, and maybe your own teams. How do you come up with that right budget amount for the client to say, okay, this is good, I can afford this, or I don't know, a little too much?
So today, as I said, I'm not really, that's part of the control I take to myself with the help of others that help me manage the project to be successful with the right budget. But to your question, understanding that this is, for some people, one-time investment. I mean, maybe twice they're going to do it in their lifetime, and understanding that a lot of people like to, trick themselves and say, okay, I'm just for the beginning, I'll put a number in the air. I'll have it in the back of my mind and I'll try to stick to it. Reality, it's always building up. It's like a hole with no bottom. And it can
change
easily,
orders alone.
can change order, and a lot of people change their mind, and a lot of people are not expecting certain things. But it all narrowed down to the point where understanding that whatever you calculate, you have to add at least 25% on top of it, and if you have a milestones where you say, okay, I already reached to 10%. Now we need to gather again and make certain decisions, making sure we're not reaching to the 15, to the 20. And so if you break it down to like tiers and understanding that every time you go reach to that tier, you needs to recalculate what you're doing wrong or what you are do too easy. You make decision too easily and bring you to that place. I think that will be a good budget management to me.
I agree 100%. So I just agree with everything you said. So manage expectations, deliver them real numbers. Do not be like dreamed about, I don't know, $500 for each or something. And just the way of construction, just stay in touch all over, everywhere.
But what happens when a client says, well, you know what, but I see this, thank you, I don't like it, I want to change it. Now, when you change, as I mentioned before, change order, that's more money.
Those 20-25% of contingency when you save it on the top of your budget.
Good point. Okay. So there's a little bit of a contingency for those
of course.
potential changes.
No, that's a real number of just to, what if client building that house on the last money without it. That's just not, that's my work for him to tell that you have to slow down and you have to go a little, easier with your ideas because you're just going to be living on the street for the next
Right,
few
and
years.
I also would like to add a side note to it. People can spend a lot of money on flashy things that not necessarily will define the successful rate of the project. Put decent amount of money in true craftsmanship, in things that will get the house value beyond the expectation. Do something magical that will be hard to ignore, and that will justify some of the budget leak that you have. But at the end of the day, when you look at the house when it's done, and you say, I may pay 20% more, but look what we accomplished here. Look what we done here. And on flashy things, they turns to be trendy. True craftsmanship holds timeless. And it's hard to put a price tag on it later on.
That is such a good point, and that's, I think, what I was probably trying to get to before and didn't do it well enough on the trending. Okay?
Right.
You're so perfectly correct on that. Talk a little bit to us about the Department of Buildings, or as we call it lovingly, the DOB, permits, codes, city red tape. How much do you guys get involved from a process perspective to get all these things done? Clients don't know what you have to go through to get the right permits. You can't do anything unless you got a permit from the DOB, for example.
Sometimes
right?
the architect don't even know.
Most of the time, the architect don't even know, in my
If
opinion.
it's landmark, they
right.
always stay space to learn. Trust me.
Yeah.
Well, landmark is another whole animal.
Yeah.
But you're 100% correct.
Yeah, but you know, since we are talking historically on a historically project, you have to consider landmark, and sometimes they are not aligned with one another, and you have to ping pong between the two, and until you get the clear answers and clear plan of how the project, the process will be, because sometimes you can just wait on the fence for like a year till things get approved, and then you're starting the project, and a year of homeowner that pay a rent or another mortgage elsewhere, trying to lose patience in that.
And the other thing I find too sometimes is when the project is done, okay, they're not so swift in paying off or closing out the permits with the Department of Buildings. I had a sale, or try to have a sale a couple of years ago, where I was selling a combination apartment, not a townhouse, but a combination apartment. And the deal didn't go through because the owner of that apartment did a major renovation combining both units together, never closed most of the permits at DOB, so we couldn't sell.
A lot of loose ends.
Way too many loose ends. So there's got to be, in my opinion, no matter what the renovation project is, someone who's leading that charge and making sure that all that stuff gets done. Realistically speaking, in your opinion, what is the timeline for a townhouse renovation?
I mean,
realistically,
start with a year. In my opinion, it's close to 2 years minimum.
Wow.
I can definitely agree with that, and I know
I was not wrong. I thought the same thing.
Less than a year.
Yeah.
It's a joke.
Yeah, it's not. I mean, people do that, but they have to cut a lot of corners to get to that.
I mean, and all the developers,
I agree with both of you.
all the builders going to tell you there's going to be a year or 6 months.
And that's the.
You're saying start with a year, but it's going to probably go
It's
to
a start
two
with
years.
it.
Yeah,
start
it's
with it.
the mainstream notion is that it's going to take you a year to, I don't know, 14 months, 16 months, but it's always exceeding this timeline.
And if you're going to file all the amendments, so that I want to change the kitchen and I want to just and that.
Well, but that's what
gonna
I'm
go
saying,
all the
right.
ups to
Yeah.
All right, we have a few minutes left. So let's talk about you for a minute again. Where do people, I know it's very difficult to talk about you. Where do potential clients find you, get in touch with you, want to talk about renovations, whether they're townhouses or not?
anywhere you can find me, Instagram or through Vince.
Through Vince?
Vince, you can convince to work with me.
I told you, we don't work together. But
email
the
address
website?
for me the best. Website. Who using websites right now? I don't know. Instagram is better.
You know, I
than
had
the
a
website.
conversation about
But
that
yeah,
just
through
before
website.
the show. Not many people are using individual websites anymore. It's really kind of interesting.
Correct.
They're really not. What about you?
I mean, Instagram is my main platform. People able to interact with what I do best. Sometimes they do get lost because I cover a lot of angles, from the craftsman to the design and to the actual building, the construction process. But I'm also promoting a lot of just general information, not just specifically to hire me or to promote my work. Is more to promote beauty, to promote true craftsmanship, to promote people who's done it for 50 years. And I want people to shift, like we talked before, some of their budget to those kind of unique individuals that makes things extraordinary. And since, some people dedicate their life for one thing and one thing only. And I do believe that if you are a designer, you're not just a designer, you're also a designer, but you're also other things that you want to promote and that you are capable to do as a human being. And I think that's where I'm trying to that's where I'm trying to promote. And Instagram is the perfect platform for it. I now extending to YouTube and to other platforms, but my true audience is there.
I get it. So you are who you are where you are. You're successful in your endeavors. What are your future goals for your current business? How do you want to grow? Where do you want to go? What may be next?
I do want to have projects all over U.S. I mean, I would like to go to West Coast.
Are you marketing out there?
Not yet. I would like to work with buildings more than with apartments, probably. Also, I would like to hire a little more people than I have right now, and delegate more work what I less like than creating something beautiful, and concentrate myself more on delivering beauty.
Marie.
I started a project now in Miami. I extended my
Good old Miami Beach.
Yeah, but the really good old one, the Coral Gable one with the
nice.
historic Spanish revival. I think this is one of the first
There's some
neighborhoods
beautiful architecture there, yeah.
in Miami. And, aside from all the modern movement that happens there and, the race of modernism go crazy over there.
Yeah, but that's a place where it fits.
Yeah,
You know, that's a
maybe.
place where it
So
fits. But aside from that, they're beautiful older architectural
Yeah,
buildings.
so Coral Gable, I think, also have the first hotel, the Biltmore Hotel.
Yeah.
And the culture there is absolutely phenomenal. And I'm starting my first project out of New York. And I hope I'll be able to deliver the Spanish expectation.
I have no doubt that you will. So you both want to grow your business, but grow it outside of your current homes here in New York.
Right.
More travel.
It is.
A different flavor of customer in different locations.
Right.
You know, New Yorkers are New Yorkers, and we're tough and we're strong and we think we know everything, right? You go elsewhere, it's kind of like, a little different attitude. Maybe, I don't know.
Yeah,
Could be better, could be worse. I don't know.
All rich people, they all the same.
Well, there you have it. I want to be an interior designer. I said at the top of the show, I have no interior design skills, whatever. Right. But everybody tells me, including my own family, you should have gone into design versus real estate, blah, blah, through the years. And I always wrestle with it and think, you know what, maybe in my part-time, spare time, I will do that. So one or both of you will train me, and I'll help you out, and we'll do what we have to do.
I think you're doing just great in real estate.
There's an answer. Stay away from interior design. Okay.
Keep your daily job.
Got it. Keep your daily job. I get it. So, but what's on the table currently? So last question. What's on the table currently? You're working in a townhouse? You're working in
I'm working in a private home. I would work in a private home. Also, I have
private home in the burbs?
In Connecticut.
Okay.
Connecticut. Yeah.
Oh, right,
Also, I have proposals for private gym in Fire Island, which is
interesting.
Which is very, very interesting. Fire Island doesn't have any gyms now. We have the gym, but
in the Pines you're talking about?
In Pines,
yeah,
it's not good. Yeah. Also working in a couple of apartments. That's pretty much it. And
I just finished in Brooklyn Heights, some beautiful project. It went very well in a nice building on Park Slope, and starting soon somewhere in Clinton Hill, mainly in Brooklyn. Hopefully waiting for the approvals and the plans to get here on the project in Manhattan. But I'm super excited for what I'm starting in Miami. I think it's different. I try to challenge myself to create new things, understanding new culture, and bring that story to the project I'm doing. So, as I said, people do interact with me. For consultation or for specific things that they want me to create. I'm very good at doing landmark facades, cornices, staircase, historical floors, fireplaces.
Jack of all trades.
Yeah, I'm trying. So you see, it's hard for me to compete with someone that does it for 40 years. So I'm willing to pay that price personally, understanding more aspects, more professionals, not to be the best of them, but having the point of view.
In the top 5. In the top 5% of all podcasts around the world, right here. So you can be in the top 5% in your industry as well. From the streets of Manhattan to all of the boroughs, to Connecticut, to Miami, to Palm Springs, to wherever. These are the guys that are going to take you to your next level in renovations. We will be right back with my closing thoughts. Don't go anywhere.
Hi, it's Stephen Bailey from Roadway Moving and Storage. Listening to Vince Rocco, you know the right partner makes all the difference. At Roadway, we deliver an experience your clients will love. For specialized services and white glove care, choose Roadway. Want to learn more? Email me at steven@roadwaymoving.com or visit roadwaymoving.com.
Okay, everybody, renovating a townhouse in New York City is not for the faint of heart. But for those who take the leap with the right team, it can be one of the most rewarding journeys in real estate and design. From navigating permits and preserving architectural details to managing budgets, timelines, and unexpected discoveries behind the walls, each step requires patience, collaboration, and trust. The best outcomes happen when the contractor, architect, and designer work in lockstep, balancing form and function, old and new, vision, and practicality. In the end, a well-renovated townhouse is more than just a beautiful home. It's a statement of craftsmanship, intention, and the timeless appeal of living vertically in the city here that never sleeps. And that's our broadcast for today. Thanks to my guests for being here on set with me. You can follow me on Facebook, on Threads, Instagram, LinkedIn, Blue Sky, Substack, or TikTok at Vince Rocco. And John Lennon always said, life is what happens when you're too busy making other plans. And from all of us here at Talking New York Real Estate and the More Network, to all of you all around the world, thanks for spending a part of your day with us. Keep thinking the good thoughts, and I will see you next time. Goodbye, everybody.